Welcome back to Beyond the Hashtag Season 2. We are so excited to be continuing this podcast after the roaring success of Season 1. If you're new to this podcast, I'm your host, Samuel Airy from tok.shop UK, and the purpose of this podcast is to explore the inspiring stories of TikTok Shop's trailblazers, the entrepreneurs, innovators, and everyday creators who are making waves and building thriving businesses right here on TikTok Shop. Whether you're a small business owner, a side hustler, or someone with a dream waiting to be launched, you're in the right place. To kick off Season 2, we've got an exciting guest, Ricardo from 2bTanned. So for the viewers and listeners who don't know about 2bTanned, can you give us like a little bit of an introduction?
So 2bTanned, predominantly just a tanning brand. We sell suntan lotions, stuff like that, you know, that helps you on your tanning journey. But I feel that it's probably just a little bit more than a product as well. It's a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit of fun, and that's what part of the branding is, as opposed to it being just a product that we're selling. It's a lifestyle, it's a bit of fun, you know. It's
Nice. Started by you and
my son.
And your son.
Yeah.
So when I think about tanning stuff, that comes to mind. I absolutely think of the ladies. How did two men think, I'm going to start a tanning brand?
So, my son he'd finished university and he was wanting to start his career. I really wasn't wanting him to leave, because he was wanting to be a pharmaceutical sales is what he wanted to get into. So he wanted to be a salesperson selling pharmaceuticals globally. So which means he'd be away from me quite a bit, like, and we had quite a special bond. And I was like, I says, why don't we start a business, like, you know? And he's like, what would you like to do? I says, well, I don't know, I've never really thought about it, so let's put our heads together and see what we could do. But I used to go to the gym with him every day, and we used to go for sunbeds quite often as well.
Yeah.
So we had like a friendship as well as a father and son relationship. And we went for a sunbed one day. And my dad and Jano would say to me, try this, Dad, it's a really good gel. All my friends are using it. And I tried this gel and I came out and I was like, wow, that's fantastic. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start a tanning brand. He's like, really? I says, a tanning brand? Because at the time, people just bought in a shop, so they would go to the local salon and they would purchase something off the shelf, whatever they had, but none of them were brand focused.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean by that? They were just like, what was on the shelf, what was available, I have that one. So we started, but we built the brand on social media. So we never used distributors to put into shops and whatnot. So we used social media, and where we changed it is like our social media was all about the lifestyle of the brand, all about the fun behind it, the pool parties we would go to and stuff. And that's where the journey sort of started. And that's all the salons closed down, but it was a really good summer.
Oh, I remember that
really
summer.
nice
it was
summer.
Roasting, wasn't it?
Roasting. So everybody was in their back, because they couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't go on holiday. They couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So they were sitting in their back door. You couldn't go to a salon to buy a cream. And we were just starting to trend at the time. So everybody started buying 2bTanned.
Wow.
So by the time we had the salons had opened back up and everything back to normal, we had like a grip on the market, and people then, and e-commerce itself at that time was such a vertical growth line.
Yeah.
And we were just there at the right time, the right product, the right branding, managed to get a grip of the market. And then after that, TikTok happened and tok.shop. So that's where the growth came, and that's how we sort of ended up sort of being, I don't want to use the word famous. I feel that's a bit kind of egotistic or a bit kind of, but where we got the growth from was from the full situation, the right product, right time, the right branding.
Yeah, now you say it, when I think about other tanning brands and like very famous sun cream brands, it's all about, I don't know, family on the beach. Like, you know, there's the safety element is a huge thing. There's not, no one's ever really, until you guys, sort of been like, hang on, there's a lifestyle behind all of it.
That's right, that's right.
And I mean, how did you come up with that? Did you have like formal creative meetings, you and your son, and just brainstorming stuff?
Do you know, the marketing and the branding has all been, like, at the time, so when we first started the business, I've always been in business since even before I left school. I was always one of the kids at school that had something for sale in his bag, and I was always, you know, trying to sell something to the other kids. I had a captive audience, so when I'd go to school, I'd take something with me to sell. So I was just that kind of kid.
Yeah.
There's and so when we opened the business, I knew nothing about social media, nothing whatsoever. but a new business. So I say to him, I'll do the business formation and the business and marketing. You do the social media because I know nothing. And he's like, okay. So he took over the social media. I took over the business formation, the targets of growth and whatnot. So I ran the business, but he ran the social media. Wow. And it just kept snowballing from there. Like, you
amazing.
Know, so,
what a great fit together.
what a synergy, you know, like a young head. And you know, and I see it on TikTok all the time as well, as you see so many young people starting a business and the growth is like a hockey stick, you know, and it's unreal, but they're young and they've still to make their mistakes. Yeah. And so then what happens is, you know, they get this opportunity and without that old head, a lot of people will make a mistake, but Jano always had the older head, had the dad there running the business. So, and that's where the synergy worked perfect. I had somebody young with me because I couldn't have done the social media. I'd have been terrible. I'd never have taken off. But he couldn't have done the business side. No. So the synergy was just absolutely perfect, you know.
That's so cool. Has it been mostly plain sailing, would you say?
No. No, absolutely not. No, there's been... I mean, you know, when you get... I've always been in business, but it's always been a local business. It's like I've had a cafe, I've had a chip shop, I've had a van hire company. It's always been a local town business where your local town people, you service them. Yeah. To go from that to a national to now global business, what I've had to learn since we started, like, the is unbelievable. I do have... I mean... But everybody, no matter what stage in business you are, you need somebody to advise you and somebody to help you. Yeah. And there's lots of TikTokers, brands and stuff that message me and ask me for a little bit of help and, you know, what about this? What would you do with that? Or how would you grow my business? And I give loads of help out. But I've still got somebody that I turn to. Yeah. And I ask, you know, it's actually my cousin's husband. He's been in the corporate business forever, but he's ran £1 billion companies in the past, like, you know, he's had a private jet and everything. So I ask him all the time, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? How would I go about this? So, and I feel that no matter where you are in business, you always need advice. Don't ever be that person that thinks, I know the best. Yeah. It's always somebody knows better than you.
And it seems like also the people we've interviewed on here before have always said there's that moment where you have to say to yourself, I need to get someone else involved now. Aye. And for some people, that takes a long time. There's quite a realization of like pride and things like this to get over. And I'm going to actually give some control now to someone else, but it's for the best because they know exactly what to do more than I do.
Exactly. You know, when you're dealing with somebody or you know somebody that's done it before, they're competent in it. They don't need to think. It just comes naturally. But it's when you're starting off, everything's a thought. So your thought process is just overwhelmed with thoughts every day. What about this? How would I do that? How would I do that? As long as you're learning, you're still doing well. But as you say, as long as I don't have an ego. I've no ego whatsoever. So I'm first to jump and ask for help if I need help.
If we go back to before 2bTanned on TikTok shop and stuff like that, and you said, I mean, it sounds like you were absolutely a natural entrepreneur, like always having things to sell and stuff like that. And so
I think I would use the word chancer.
Chancer.
I was always a chancer.
I feel like I'm doing you a disservice by saying that. Yeah, no. That started at school.
Yeah, I think it started even before. Well, I started at school. You know, I remember. So I'm off Italians. My name's Riccardo, and my grandfather was Italian. And so when I was getting brought up in the 70s and 80s, like my grandfather had lots of chip shops, lots of ice cream vans, because ice cream vans at that time was the trend. Right. So my grandfather had loads of ice cream vans. I mean, you used to get wee little penny sweeties. I don't know if you know what a penny sweet is. It's like a Haribo mix, but you used to be able to pick them. Yeah. So in every ice cream van, you'd have a selection of them. You'd go and get a 10p mix up. So what my papa did is he would make me up little bags or give me boxes of stuff. I would put them in a little bag or whatnot. But I used to live in a big council estate where there was loads of kids playing. I mean, I'm getting back to, must have been about 7, 8-year-old, and I would sit at the in the park with my table there with all my 10p mix-ups, selling them, and that's my first my first remembering where I was out to make a profit. My mum and dad were really poor. My dad worked every hour under the sun, but everybody was poor back then. So if you wanted something, you had to work for it yourself. And I feel that that's what's gave my generation the want in business as well, you know. So yeah, even when I was about 7-year-old, I was selling penny sweeties in the scheme. To all the kids that were playing, and I would undercut the ice cream vans.
Smart. Already competitive at that age.
That's it.
Working it out. And then from there, you went on to, was then at chip shops after that, and then
God, I've been in every business. Chip shop, I bought, and I had a jewellers before that. I had a jewellery store. What did I do before that? I had a greetings card shop before that, where I sold, like, you know, birthday cards and stuff.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of everything. I don't think there's enough time on your hard drive here to get through all my businesses. But I look for opportunities, and I look for what's trending, and I sort of jump on that. My next biggest business was a chip shop. I bought that with my dad. What year did I buy that? I think it was 2000. I bought that. Me and my dad, it was actually my uncle. My uncle built the building, and I bought it off my uncle at the time, my dad's brother. And me and my dad had bought that year 2000. I think I sold it in 2008. The hours I was working, I was away from a young family at the time, was unbelievable, because it was in Paisley and I stayed in Motherwell, so it was like an hour's drive there in the morning, an hour's drive back. But I was there for 9:30 in the morning till like 11 o'clock at night, and then home at 12. Like, and it was fine when me and my dad worked together, because we shared that liability or the responsibilities. But my dad wanted to retire, so I was like, oh, you go, I'll manage, I'll do it myself. My dad retired. Once he retired, I couldn't find MD to replace my dad. I thought I could, but I couldn't find MD to replace my dad. So, like, me and my dad were in business, had a great relationship. I've come out of business with him, I've went into business with my son, so it's all good. But when he left, 2008, I burnt myself out, and I said, I need to reset my life. So I reset my life, and I started again. So I had a big house and that at the time. I had the Porsche 911 in the driveway and stuff. But I just, do you know what? I'm out of this. I downsized into a nice little ex-council house. Get rid of the Porsche, get rid of all the debt, and restarted my life again. Wow. A small business, and built it all back up again.
Wow. Well, I mean, what determines what you change, or like how? Because you go from lots of different things, and you're saying, like, I follow opportunity and I see what's trending and stuff like that. But what makes you think, I'm going to shut down this and now start up this one? Do you get to a point where you're like, there's no more room now, I need to start the next thing?
It really changes within the business and what you're doing at the time. But for me, it's happiness and contentment. If I'm not happy and I'm not content, I will not do what's required. So I'll either shut the business and say, it's time for me to move on, I'm now unhappy, and I move. And you know, you're only in this life once. Your happiness is far more valuable than any amount of money that you could ever make. So as long as you're happy and as long as you're content, you'll do a good job.
What an amazing.
So chase your happiness, not the dollar.
So true. So 2bTanned, was there anything else that you were thinking about before that business with your son?
Yeah, well, oh God, we were going through lots of things. I can't remember exactly, but I remember talking about pet food, because pets are such a big thing. For anybody that owns a pet, they love it. They buy anything.
Yeah,
they buy anything.
So much money.
I love my wee, whatever dog's called. I love my wee dog. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. So we looked at pet stuff. We looked at fireworks shops. So I actually had one fireworks shop at the time. It was all year round, but we actually looked at doing e-commerce, a fireworks shop. But that's only really busy Guy Fawkes time, so November the 5th and New Year's. The rest of the year it's quite quiet. You get some weddings and stuff in the summertime, but apart from that, it was too seasonal. What else did we look at? We looked at a few different things, but I was looking, because it wasn't me. This business wasn't for me. This business was for my son that was building this. So I was looking for something that for us would be, it would be a bigger opportunity than it would be. I would normally just open a little business and just plod away and get my wages and I'd be happy. But because it was for my son, I felt we needed something that was a little bit bigger and we could do nationally to take, and create something bigger for my son. So So that was that. And the actual original plan was once we built the business, I was coming out the business.
Wow.
And I was going to get back on with my business and leave this with my son. There's no chance I'm leaving this. So yeah, that was the original plan. But it's taken over both of our lives actually. So, and I've done away with my other business. I used to have a van hire before that.
So your goals with 2bTanned from the beginning were big.
Yeah.
Was it national, or was it always like as big as it will go?
No, at first it was just national, is what we were looking at. But as times progress, I'm constantly looking for other platforms. I'm constantly looking for other markets to join. tok.shop makes that quite easy because TikTok's growing as well. So, we're looking at Europe and stuff next. We were going to go into America last year. We were looking at tok.shop America last year. But we had some problems within the business, and I wasn't comfortable with the way the business was. We had some staffing issues. We just had some, as you say, as I say to you, nothing runs right. And at the time, I just felt everything was a bit over the place. The full team wasn't gelled correctly. It wasn't working right. So we brung back any growth, and we restructured the business within the business, and I'll tell you what else we've done in a wee second, but that's taken over probably about a year and a half to fix correctly, to give us the confidence to move forward. So now that's us got the confidence to move forward, so we're looking to move forward. But we're actually changing the full business message. As you said earlier, it was always all about getting that tan and, the sort of the nice looking influencers with the heavy tan, going to beach parties and things like that. Now that the business has grown up a bit, I think it's this weekend, we're launching our sunscreen range. So we're bringing out a sunscreen range.
Nice.
Because we feel that we need now that the business has grown up, we're on tok.shop. The amount of kids that love the brand and the 2bTanned is unreal. And I feel that we've not got the right message. And as a responsible trader and a responsible business, I feel that we need to change that. I mean, it's still good to look good and it's still good to have a tan, but what we want to do now is say, it's good to be safe.
Yeah.
It's good to be safe. So we're bringing out a sunscreen range that still suits the 2bTanned image, because it's all about looking good in the sun. It's all about getting a tan, but it's all about safe tanning.
Nice.
And that's what we're changing this year. So the full business model is about to change.
Wow.
And this is just the beginning of it.
Wow. And what sort of considerations did you have for having now kind of almost two separate? Because I'm guessing you're keeping the tanning range as well.
You're
introducing a new.
Yeah, so we're introducing a new era of 2bTanned, because the message we gave before, because it was just predominantly sunbed, so it was a sunbed cream to begin with, and then it was like, you can use these whilst on holiday. A lot of people then messages, I'm really pale, I can't use that self, what could I use? And we're saying, use a sunscreen under it, and you'll still get a really good tan and so forth. So we've developed our own sunscreen, because we kept telling people, if you're using it in the sun, you still need to use a sunscreen, because there's no protection in that. Although it's good for building a tan, there's no protection. So we developed our own sunscreen range, but we're actually bringing out a kids sunscreen range this year as well.
Wow.
Because we want to get the message across to the kids that, I don't know if any of you have ever seen my office or the TikToks that we do, but it's pink and it's like so funky inside. The branding is really good and really strong. We had a street party 2 or 3 weeks ago. The amount of kids that turned up to it as well, and I was like, something, we're going down the proper route here in the sun safety, bringing out a kids range. We've got those little sort of cover up hooded type towel stuff as well. I don't know what they're called, to be honest. It was the buyers have bought them and developed them. You know what I'm talking about? When the kids come out the pool and you put the little towel around them, but they've got a hood on it.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys can help me out.
Yeah.
So we're bringing those out as well, and they're all 2bTanned. What we find is see when a parent has a kid and they're trying to put like a sunscreen on, the kid's not wanting it because they're horrible to rub in and like, I'm playing, I'm out here. Our product comes in a really funky little spray bottle, and it's a non-aerosol technology. It's a compressed bottle. When you press it, it compresses the bottle. It's just not a squirter as such. So the kid will feel engaged putting it on, and because of the branding of 2bTanned, it'll be like, oh, I've got my 2bTanned on, but it's a total sunblock.
Wow.
So it's all about protecting the kids as well, and letting the kids still enjoy the TikTok journey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
So that's the sort of new era of 2bTanned.
And how are you going to use TikTok Shop in your sort of strategy and TikTok for launching that? Are there going to be any differences as well between launching that and 2bTanned and how you do it?
Well, yeah, because we're just going to have more holiday trips, I think, and just jump on a
what a
plane. And
shame.
I know. So we do you know, we're working with a pool party in Ibiza this year. It's undisclosed, so I'm not going to say who it is. Where we are standing there and to give out SPF and speak to the participants in the pool party, the clientele, about being safe in the sun whilst drinking, because you know you go to these pool parties and you forget to put your SPF on your shoulder or on your nose or whatnot, and you're getting burnt that day. So we're there with a stall just to give away some sunscreen and speak to the clientele for them and give them some free sunscreen and say, like, you know, it's really important to hydrate. Use an SPF oils in the sun. Don't allow yourself burning, and also how to manage a good tan as well and still be safe. So like this pool party has accepted our request and allowing us to do that. So we're quite excited about that. So we'll be there every month this year in Ibiza as
Every
well.
month?
Every month, yeah. So we've done that in 2023. We went to, and it was O Beach we went to, and we sponsored Wiki Woo Hotel, where we would go, but we used to take influencers with us, so it was an influencer trip, and it was quite a big thing back then, like, and that's really what got us on that growth journey that we had. But now it's not really about the influencers so much. It's people love to see the brand. They like to see the employees behind the brand.
Yeah.
They like to see the founder. They like to see the founder engaged with the brand as well, and I love that anyhow. So, so it's all about the staff this year. I'm even got to take all the staff to the pool party. I'm going to shut the warehouse for 2 days and take all the staff there as well, cool. and go to the pool party, and I'll have a good time.
One thing that TikTok Shop allows brands to do is, as you said, like connect the consumers with the brand founders and build that relationship. Can you talk us through how you did that and how you're kind of doing that?
So my TikTok is Bossman, 2B Bossman. You know, the Bossman character came about when we used to do TikTok lives, and it was my head of brand now, Zoe, she was head of social media at the time. Her and her team used to do the lives. So when they were doing the lives, they would discount, and they'd be like, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to discount that. Let me phone the boss man.
Oh, no.
So then they would phone me. They would even sometimes pretend to phone me. If they couldn't get me, and they'd be like, oh, the boss man says yes, and then they would discount it and so forth.
Wow.
And then people started saying, who is the boss man? Who is the boss man? And then I would appear every now and then on one of the lives just to say hello. And it became a thing that people became really interested in the founder of 2bTanned. So that's where the boss man came about. And actually having the boss man page, the help with the community of 2bTanned and TikTok, it makes it so easy, but so much more fun as well.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it so much more fun. And you know, I was always kind of worried about going on TikTok because I'm a little bit older than at the time most people were on TikTok.
Yeah.
I know that the spectrum of ages grows constantly on TikTok now, but at the time, you know, for a middle-aged man to be on TikTok, I always felt a wee bit kind of self-conscious of my age, and I was like, I don't really want to be on TikTok. People love me. Absolutely love the boss man. So the page is full of positivity. The engagement that we get and the community that I'm building is unreal. So yeah, it's good fun.
So cool.
It's good fun.
What an amazing piece of kind of accidental marketing.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I know.
good.
I know. And you know, I think that's sometimes the best marketing that comes about because it's natural.
Yeah.
It just happens, you know. And if you can see it happening and you jump on it, it'll grow quick, you know. But if you're trying to force a message on somebody, sometimes I feel they can see through your BS. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just saying that. But when you're a real person and you've got real messages and you've got real marketing, like people like that, they engage more with it.
Nice. If we go back to like when you decided, right, we're going to make tanning stuff. What were the next steps then in terms of, you know, sourcing the products? Like, where I wouldn't know where to begin with that kind of thing. Like,
Do you know, I think that before the internet, that would have been almost impossible to do, but Google's your friend. Give half an hour on Google and you can find out anything. So it's really easy nowadays. You know, if you've got something that you want, you jump on Google, a little half an hour search, and you've found the right people. Give them a little email, boom. It's so it's just so easy nowadays, and that's one of the questions I get quite a lot through the messaging through Bossman. Is like, I want to start a business doing this. How would I find it?
right. Just have a look.
Aye, Google's your friend. Jump on Google and just ask the question there. He's got a lot more answers than I have. So Google's quite easy.
A lot of these kind of where you source these products from and that kind of thing, you have to get loads of samples over. I mean, was that the same thing with you? Like you're checking for quality and things and how it feels, and how long was that process?
It takes forever.
Wow.
To get a product. I mean, you can get white label products and contact a company and just buy something off the shelf, and basically, or a formula off the shelf. Pick some kind of packaging and get them to fill it and give them a logo and they could put it onto it. We don't do it that way. We get our own formulas made. It takes a lot longer to bring anything to market, no matter where it is in the world. The sunscreen range that got made is actually made in the UK.
Nice.
It wasn't really any quicker getting it made in the UK than it would be anywhere else in the world. The only difference is the time it takes them to get a sample to you takes an extra week or two, really, if you're getting it shipped for anywhere else. Our new tanning creams, the formula was made in America. So there was no difference between America and the UK. Time difference from getting one product made somewhere than it is somewhere else. So the world's quite a small place nowadays. And postage doesn't take long. It's just the time it takes. It's more the time in the lab. So like we would contact a lab and say like, we're needing to make this for us. You would contact a lab that's got experience in that field. So like the lab that we used, or the company that we use for our sunscreen, they're the biggest sunscreen maker in the UK.
Wow.
Right? And they actually, I'm actually not allowed to mention any brands or whatnot or any other platforms, but they make stuff for pretty much everybody.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So they're huge. Dealing with somebody that way experience makes the product on point.
Right.
Rather than trying to find somebody that's a little bit cheaper, somebody that's maybe closer to home, you need to find the right manufacturer with the right story to make your product, because with them having the experience in building that product for you, you're taking away a lot of variance on chances from it might not be a good product when you get it, or they might have put the wrong ingredient into it because they've not that experience. So use the right company that's experienced in making those products.
Yeah.
And it's half the battle when you get the right company.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You're not thinking, you're gonna deep dive into sunscreen and stuff like that, right? But you're not gonna suddenly become a biochemist overnight and do a degree and you want those people that can just say, this is what this means.
Yeah.
Here's the scale of quality or whatever, and how expensive we go. What do you want? And they can give you that kind of advice.
Exactly. So you give them a brief, like, I'm looking for a product that does this, that does that. Here's our brand sort of message. I need you to make me a product. Then they make you a product. I've made these 3 products. Here's 3 variants. So you even give them like a benchmark to work off as well, and then they make it from there. So, nice. But yeah, in a good scenario, it's a year and a half to get a product launched. In a good scenario. So like when you're wanting to change something in the business, or like what we've been working on for the last year and a half is just getting changed this summer. So, and that's a year and a half journey behind the scenes, the work that's went in, the stress, pushing the times to make sure we get targeted, because like the summer's a short season, tanning season's short. So if I don't get it at the beginning of the season, and it comes in halfway through the season, I've lost half the year's profit. Yeah. So important, and everybody is the same. So anybody that's using these companies and saying, I need you to make me a tanning cream, they're all wanting them at the beginning of the year. They're not wanting it halfway through the summer, you know. So trying to make sure that everything falls together at the right time is there's a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah, wow, God, a year and a half.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
a long old time.
As when, you know, it's not like you can just take a van and go to the local wholesaler that's, you know, in the city next to you and fill your van up and change your business. Or, I'm not going to sell that product anymore because that product's better than to put that in the back of the van. The way you go. It's not like that, you know, like the actual change in the full business, it takes forever to change it. As a brand, if you're a reseller, you know, you can just instantly stop selling somebody's tanning product and sell somebody else's the next day.
Yeah.
So as a brand, the planning that goes into it is unseen. People don't realise the actual planning that goes into it. They just see the kind of fun part of it, and it's all fun as well. I enjoy the other part of it, you know, as long as you're enjoying it.
If we go right back to the beginning on TikTok Shop, when you sort of saw this opportunity on TikTok Shop, what were your first thoughts strategy-wise? Were you thinking, okay, let's do loads of lives, or let's do more shop haul videos or affiliate? What were you and your son thinking right at the beginning?
So I actually remember it well. We were in Ibiza at the time. And so we used to use other platforms for our marketing. And TikTok had came about, so then we started on TikTok and we were just, you know, engaging with the customers and having some fun before TikTok Shop. And then you start hearing rumours, TikTok Shop's happening. I knew it was happening in China.
Yeah.
But then I started hearing rumours, it's coming to the UK, and you started seeing some selected brands allowing to sell on TikTok Shop, and I seen it. And we were in Ibiza at the time on a brand trip. So we had loads of influencers with us, and I remember sitting next to my son, and I says to him, we need to be on TikTok Shop. He's like, aye. I says, TikTok Shop is going to be the next big platform to sell on. He's like, you think so? I says, you mark my words here. He says, okay. So, and then by the end of the summer, I think it was August that year. I think it was August. We started TikTok Shop, and you know what, we were doing 20 orders a day. It wasn't a lot, but we're doing 20 orders a day. But in August trip, I spoke to all the influencers that were with us, and I says, all I'm wanting on this trip is TikToks. I want every one of you to concentrate on TikToks. We're making TikToks. So everybody and all the girls, all the influencers that were with us, like, okay, so we're focused. All the staff that were there were making sure that the girls were making TikToks. So we went from doing 20 orders a day. 2 or 3 days later, we're doing 200 orders a day. Right. So, and me and my son are like, have you seen the sales? Oh my God, check this. So we're like, oh, that's brilliant. On I think it was the 4th day, the office phoned. I don't know what you are doing over there, but you need to stop it. I says, how do you mean? We have 1,000 orders in this morning on TikTok.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, like really? It says 1,000 orders here. So like, right, okay, I'm sure you'll be fine. Just do this, do that. Just don't panic. I'll phone in a couple of friends and we'll get some packaging done for you. The next day, they phoned us again. They said, we have now got 1,500 orders sitting here, and we'll still get 300 orders for yesterday. So there was almost 2,000 orders that day. There was a couple of hundred for the day before, and there was 1,500 that day. And they're like, I'm going to put everything out of sale here to catch up. I says, indeed you are not. I'll be back tomorrow. Just keep going. I'll be back tomorrow. For about a week solid, I would say maybe even 10 days, I think we were doing between 1,500 and 2,000 orders every single day on that platform. God. And so what happened is people were seeing us on TikTok and making a shop. It wasn't shoppable because you couldn't link the products, but just, no, they were shoppable. You could link the products at the time. But content creators started seeing it, and they're going, oh, I've got a 2bTanned product here. I'm just going to make... So there was no sample requests, there was no nothing. So there was some, and I remember one, it was Kira Darby, I think her name is. And she blew up at the time, and she didn't have a big following. She had done a TikTok, and she was getting like 1,000 orders a day just herself. So when we get back and we cleared and nothing since then, nothing has went back. It's just maintained. Been consistent all the way since that day, or since that week. It's consistent. to the day, you know, as you say, we done 100,000 on a live. I think one of our biggest days, including the live, was about 180,000 on TikTok. I think, you know, and I know it's not the biggest in the way of some of the brands on TikTok, but for my brand,
yeah, amazing.
exactly. So yeah, so every brand trip after that, at that point, we made all about TikTok. In fact, you know, the brand actually became, because we were there at the beginning and I was so focused on Tik.shop, we became one of the actual leaders in TikTok for a short while, because our product's quite niche.
Yeah.
Not everybody uses a tan accelerator. In fact, I think the percentage in the UK is about 1% uses a tan accelerator.
Wow.
And that there itself shows a lot for what we achieved at the time. It's such a small market, and it is really, really small market. But what we were achieving at the time is unheard of.
You grabbed a huge
chunk, aye. But with the sunscreen now as well that we're going on to come back to that, is it's not niche, it's mass market.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that with us being, I think we are probably going to be one of the first on TikTok.shop, definitely UK. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the world, who's turned their brand into a sunscreen brand.
Wow.
But our sunscreen is all very 2bTanned. It's all funky. It's all sexy. It's all brand awareness. It's all, you know, like the packaging's unreal. So I'm hoping that the sunscreen range that we're releasing is going to do the same to the sunscreen market as the tanning products we delivered at the time to the tanning market.
Nice.
So and if we can achieve the same by that, the growth again gives us that hockey stick.
And then you'll have a private jet. Be a billionaire.
Yeah, I don't know about a private jet, but yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah. What happens when you see that accelerated growth? Are you thinking, well, we need more warehouse space? Like, get more stock quickly?
You know, I said to somebody before, and they said, "Oh, you're so lucky. Your business is such." I says, bigger the business, bigger the problems. It just creates more problems. You know, I'm lucky more this year because the team I've got is more focused and more on point. The attention to detail with my team is so much better. As I said, we're having problems. I might be good at marketing, but I don't think I'm very good at recruitment.
Right.
I take everything on face value, you know.
Yeah.
And it seems that recruitment's not my best. So you know, I am generally a nice person, and I don't like to be a, you know. So I try my hardest to be nice to everybody, even when they're not being nice to me, do you know? And if they're like at work and they're kind of skiving or whatnot, like I try to be nice. And it's probably not the best quality that I've got when it comes to business, because I know that, you know, if you really want to make it in business, you need to have that sort of cutthroat sort of, and it's not me. So there's only so far I'm going to be able to take this, and then I'm going to need somebody else. And I think I'm really getting close to that, to be honest, because, you know, and I don't need the stress. Actually, you know, in 2018, I got taken into hospital with end-stage heart failure, and they gave me a year to live.
Oh my God.
The doctor had says that, you know, you won't live the rest of the year. It was December. He says you won't live another year. You're needing a heart transplant. You're in end-stage heart failure. There's pretty much nothing we can do for you. That's not happening. I'm busy. I've got stuff to go on, mate. So that was 2018, and in 2020 we started 2bTanned, and you know, it's gave me another lease of life. It's like winning the lottery of life when you think that your days are numbered, and it turns out that they're not.
You're still gonna go.
Do you know? Of course, every day I wake up. I wake up with excitement in me every single day. And I remember somebody says to me before we were going to an event, they said, "Are you excited?" And I looked at it, was an influencer, and I looked at her and I says, "I'm excited every day. Every day I wake up excited. So no, this doesn't excite me anymore because I woke up this morning, I'm excited." And she looked at me, she's like, "Oh, that's fabulous." It's like, you know, and I think that, I always had that kind of attitude in life, but when you think your life's getting taken away from you and it turns out that it's not, and that you're going to be, I'm okay as long as I take my medicine. So, and I'm not really looking for any sympathy. I just feel that it's part of the life that I've had, and to share that story with people can inspire folk, you know, to realise that life's not bad, you know.
You hit this amazing milestone, $100,000 live.
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to get to $100,000 before that started?
Well, I was hoping to the tensions where, again, it's all down to reality. Like, you know, you can think, I hope to get there, but inside, do you think you're going to hit that? Do you think you're going to do it? Sometimes I don't know. I think maybe there's internal doubt. Once we hit it, it was like, you know. It's one of those moments. I don't know, and you just think like, is this real? Do you know? Although everything that we do is we definitely. I try my hardest. Everything I do, I try my hardest, and I make sure my team try their hardest as well. Mm-hmm. But that always doesn't, sort of come true a lot of the times. You know, and you can get people who try their hardest in life but never succeed at anything. You know. But to do something like that and to have, it was a really successful item. The fun we had in it was unreal. Like the fun was mental. Yeah, we had my son there with his girlfriend Portia, and Portia's, quite a big influencer in that as well. She was there. She had great fun. I had my team there as well. My wife was there. She didn't come on the live, but she was there supporting us. The fun we had on it, and I feel that again, that's what it's all about. It's got to be about the fun. It's not about the money.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me how the fun was that day, it would probably more of a succession to me than what the actual money value is. Everybody needs money, and I'm not saying, and I think there would be a lot of people who would say, it's all right for somebody who's sitting there who's done the 100,000 on a live to say that. It's not about the money, it's about enjoying yourself. The money's secondary. As long as you can feed yourself, you can wash yourself, you can clean yourself, and you got a roof over your head, everything else after that's just an option. You don't really need it, but and again, it's the same with 2bTanned. It's not a monetary thing for me. I'm building something, so it's that I've did that, I've succeeded, I hit my targets. That's what gives me my happiness. I work with my son every day. Every day I go to work, I sit next to my son every day. Like, do you know the amount of people that would want that? And that's worth more than anything to me. Worth a lot more. But everybody needs money to eat. Everybody needs money for a little bit of freedom. So the money helps.
Have you ever worked for anyone else?
So I sold the chip shop. I says to my wife, I'm taking a year out. I'm not going to work for a year. She says, okay. So I sold the chip shop on the Wednesday, and the Italian fella that sold the chip shop for me, he'd phoned me that day and he says, how you doing? I was like, I'm good, Julian, how's yourself? He says, my friend owns a chip shop, he can't get a fryer, could you go and help him? And I says, I'm taking a year out here, I'm not. He says, just go and do a couple of shifts for him, he's really struggling, he's not got a fryer. I says, I'll go and see him. So my wife says, go and see him. I says, all right, okay. So Wednesday, I goes to see him, right? Goes to see him Wednesday night, and I says, how you doing, Sergio? Julian sent me in. Oh, brilliant, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you Friday night. Oh, okay. So I walked out, I went home. My wife says, how's you going? I says, I'm working Friday night. She's good. I says, I'm meant to be taking a year out. How is this good?
God.
And so I worked for that guy for about 6 or 7 months. I says to him, I'm not looking for a job. I say, so find yourself a fryer, I'll do a couple of shifts to help you. The man was the nicest man you'd ever met in life. And do you know when I went to, my shift would start at 12 and he'd be like, come in, Ricardo. I'd be there 5 minutes to 12, sit down, have a coffee. So he'd sit down, he would start telling you about Italy and his hometown. He was an older man, and he would tell you about his family, and he would talk to him in Italian. I always had an interest in trying to speak Italian. I could speak a little bit Italian years ago, so he would talk to me Italian and I would reply back to him and so forth. Months had passed and I was like, I'm really enjoying this, and I don't really need a job, but I'm enjoying this, working with this man. So then I says to him, Sergio, I says, I'm happy to stay here. And he says, I've just taken somebody on. They've packed their job in and they start next week.
Oh my God.
And that was the only other person I ever worked for.
Wow.
And I was so sad to leave that job. It wasn't work. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're really happy somewhere and you think, I'm really enjoying this. This isn't work. And I had my chip shop where, when you've got your own business, you need to worry about the staff turning up. You need to worry about the cost of the fish, the cost of the chips, the cost of the electricity, the money that's going in the till, the money that's going out the till. But when I worked with him, I only needed to fry the fish and chips.
Yeah.
And the man was in, honest to God, He was the nicest man I've ever met in my
Oh
life.
God.
Nicest man I've ever met in my life. And I was sad, you know, and up until not long ago, he still had his chip shop, and I used to go and pass by and always go in and say hello to him.
Oh wow.
So there you go. So that was the only person I ever worked for.
My next question was going to be, like, how good did it feel working for yourself afterwards? But it sounded like you were so sad to leave.
I was.
The job you...
I was. And do you know, actually, I'd started another business while I had that at the time. I started a car wash and valet business because I thought, I'm going to do something that I actually enjoy. And my passion was cleaning cars. I loved cleaning cars, and that's for my first job. So I thought, and a little yard space came up for sale round the corner from where I live, and I thought, I'm going to, and everybody kept saying to me, that road's too quiet, don't open a car wash here, you'll never get any business. Within 4 months, I think it was, the local car wash round the corner, big car wash, main road, had closed down. I'd stole all the business.
Oh my God.
Because I was so focused on customer services, on the experience of coming in for a car wash. You go in for most car washes, especially back then, it was just a wham bam thank you man, out you go type business. My place was full of like flower pots. It was done up. It was pretty. Everything was nice. It was really nice. I took really good care of the customers. Everything was spot on. The community I had built for that car wash as well was unbelievable. And the local car wash, who had just had young boys running it, they had closed down. I actually took over that car wash. I bought that one as well. When it came up for rent, I took that one on. And yeah, so in the local, I actually got a bit of hate for that actually because I was so good at the car wash experience.
So thinking about kind of the TikTok Shop platform, how do you use that to build your business, and does how you use it, has that changed from the beginning?
Again, everything's like sort of test, learn, and adapt. There's been different strategies on TikTok, whether it's just been solely focused on fun, solely focused on sales, and adapting, you know, what your findings are, learning what your findings are, and adapting to suit. And I feel that there needs to be a good mix, because what people don't want, they don't want to come on to my page and it'd be like, oh, buy this, and they're like, there's no engagement, there's no fun in that.
Yeah.
And it's good to drop the odd shoppable in, but people need to want to watch your channel. That you know, it's all very well putting an advert on and making them watch it, but they need to want to watch it, and we always try to have just that little bit of fun, or still have fun on it. So I feel that what we've discovered is a mix, a definite mix. We try not to be too product focused on it, because I feel that it just becomes like a selling channel, and it's more of a lifestyle channel. I feel anyhow, it's more of a lifestyle channel, but people engage in that and then they want to buy into your lifestyle. So then that's where you have, and then also the use of content creators using shoppable. So if they've seen ours and then they see a shoppable on a content creator, what happens is they're more likely to press that as well. So the odds shoppable, loads of lifestyle, loads of fun, and content creators is what we have found works for us.
Nice. How much did it accelerate the business growth? Hockey stick.
Aye, proper hockey stick. I told you how we went for doing 20 orders a day, but then we were so focused on our brand trip on TikTok, we went to 200, and within 3 days we were doing 1,500 orders, 2,000 orders. It was unbelievable the way that it, and as I said, it's never went back from then. We obviously have our seasons, so through the winter we're a lot quieter than what we are through the summer, but it's never went back from there. I mean, even now, I think one of your products is number 2 in the beauty category. Wow. I think it's either beauty category. One of the categories, one of your products is second best, or it fluctuates between 1 and 2. Yeah. So like even now, we've been in business for 5 years, and we're still smashing it. And I hope that in the next 5 years we still smash it.
Yeah. So, go international.
Global. Global.
Incredible. How's your life personally changed, like with the success of the TikTok Shop platform? Because you were making it sound like you were kind of going a bit monk-like. Let's get rid of the Porsche, you know, the big houses.
Yeah, do you know, I still have quite a simple life. I still live in an ex-council house. You know, I dress out of Primark. I don't wear expensive clothes whatsoever. So I still have quite a basic life as such. The only difference now is I've got a little bit of freedom in time. Right. Now, although I work really hard, like, and most people that see me think, like, every time I see you, you're working, but I'm free to go wherever I want to do that work. So, like, last week, so I've got a little villa in Spain. Last week, I was like, I'm going to go over to Spain. I've got loads of work to do. Right, okay, I'll take my staff with me. So I took my staff with me and we worked from home in Mallorca. That's the freedom. That's the difference. That's the difference that TikTok has made and the brand has made for us, is that little bit of freedom. Because most people, you need to go to your office every day.
Yeah.
Well, my office can be wherever I want, and I can take whoever I want with me to go and do my work. So we took 2 members of staff. I work mostly in the social media team and the marketing team now. So I took 2 of them and says, I need you to come to Mallorca. I was like, no problem.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. And I said, I'll put you up in the hotel next to me is beautiful. So I'll put you up in the hotel next to me. It's a spa hotel. So they stayed in the hotel next to us. And every day they just came to the villa. We worked there. Come on, we'll go and make some social media. Jump in the van. We'll go down to the south, the island, and we'll make some social media. So we just worked for the home there. Jumped about Mallorca, made some social media. They went on the plane 4 days after that, and then I had a couple of days with my wife in the villa. So
cool.
yeah, that's the difference that it's made. It's gave us that kind of freedom, but I'm still committed to work. You know, so.
I love that island so much.
My mum and dad lived next door to me in Mallorca, right next door. So when my dad retired from the chip shop, he went to live in Mallorca. My mum's got a couple of sisters over there. I've got a couple of cousins. My aunties, I've got daughters and kids over there as well. So my brother lives next door to me as well over there. So it's like a home from home for me. So yeah, so I'm either over there or I'm here, but if I'm there I'm still working. But that to me is my value. That's where I get my happiness in life, is, you know, I've still my family, mum and dad are still alive. My wife's mother lives next door to me in Scotland as well. Gosh. So I'm really very close to my family and my wife's family. So yeah, it's all about that. It's all about family, and it's all about that little bit of freedom where you know, you're not just focused on working in an office every day.
Yeah.
You know?
So we asked our listeners to send in their questions for 2bTanned, and we've got some fantastic ones lined up for you. So we'll see what our community wants to know. First one from Peter: what advice would you give to beauty brands looking to grow on TikTok Shop?
As long as you're not a tanning brand. What advice? You know, just have some fun. Be true to your brand message. Don't try and please everybody.
Okay.
You know, and I feel that that's part of a problem as well. Is like a lot of young entrepreneurs is they try to please everybody, and get your segment, get your customer focus, and target them. And have fun. Most importantly, have fun.
Wow. Yeah, that niche is really important, right? That's your community, basically.
100%, definitely.
Jamie says, if 2bTanned could go back to its first TikTok Shop live stream, what's one thing you would do differently?
I probably wouldn't do anything differently. I don't actually remember the very first one, but I remember the first episodes that we used to do and the girls that used to do them. And again, it was so on brand at the time, because the 3 of them would go on. They wouldn't be really that sales focused. They would be fun focused. They would go on. They would have loads of fun. It'd be an absolute carry on, and it worked well for us. So no, I probably wouldn't change anything with the lives or the way we've done the lives.
Nice. Katie says, what's the most surprising feedback you've received from customers through TikTok Shop?
Do you know, the most surprising, and I think it's a kind of generalisation, is the amount of people who message in to say that 2bTanned has changed their life, from not even the product, from enjoying the brand. Wow. You know, let me tell you, for instance, I always thought that it was young people that enjoyed our brand. Do you know we have got a 90-year-old lady who comes into the sunbed shop, buys her product and goes for a sunbed.
That's so cool.
and she's so happy. She absolutely loves it. And I'm thinking, like, there's a 90-year-old comes in here, you know, and the amount of people who come into the shop because have seen me on TikTok as well. They come into the salon. It's unbelievable. The engagement we get. It's just. I can't believe it. That itself, the way people react to the brand and react to me and join in the brand, that's what surprised me, and say that 2bTanned has changed their life. That's probably the kind of biggest engagement, the biggest sort of thrill factor.
Lily says, how does 2bTanned stay ahead of fast-moving beauty trends while staying true to its brand?
Well, see, that's the thing is, fast-moving beauty trend is we don't really get involved in the trends. We try to be the trendsetter, not the follower.
Wow.
So, like, and I feel that that's what we've done so far. You just need to look at the amount of smaller brands that are now on tok.shop who make similar products and similar looking products inspired by 2bTanned. But I feel that if you're almost copying somebody else or copying somebody else's business model, you'll never get in front of them.
Yeah.
You'll never be a market leader. Do your own thing. Be your own person.
Yeah.
It's good to be inspired. I was inspired by the gel that my son had originally gave me to make 2bTanned. It has nothing that didn't look anything like that, but it made me want to do it.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's important, but you need to be yourself.
And what an inspiring journey you shared with us today, Ricardo. Really, really appreciate it. As we wrap up, let's look ahead. What does the future look like for 2bTanned?
I pretty much take every day as it comes to me. I'm quite a sporadic person, but the global is what we're looking at. So tik.tok.shop is opening globally in different countries. So that's the next plan to get onto with our current products and our new products that are coming out, is to get into different countries. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, just something small then on the
Yeah.
global domination.
Take over the world.
Yeah. One last question for you. If you could sum up your TikTok shop journey with one piece of advice for aspiring beauty brands, what would it be?
Stay true and stay focused. Stay true to yourself, stay focused, and do whatever it takes.
Thank you so much for joining us. Really, really inspiring. And I hope I'm sure all of our listeners will appreciate you sharing your journey with us.
Yeah. But I mean, excellent.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's episode. A huge thanks to Ricardo from 2bTanned for joining us and sharing his journey on TikTok Shop. If there's one thing to take away, it's that chasing happiness, not just the money, can lead to real success. Like so many other successful business owners we talked to on this podcast, his drive was all about building something. Money wasn't the core motivation. Ricardo does what he loves, brings joy into everything he touches, and in turn builds genuine connections with his audience. Whether he's going live or creating content, he brings a sense of fun and happiness, and it's clearly resonating with his community, because that's the secret to earning 100K in a single live. So, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and send in your questions in the comments section. And continue to share with somebody who could use a little inspiration to follow their passion. Next week, we have Mallow's Beauty, one of the oldest TikTok shops in the UK. Until next time, keep creating, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep having fun.